Welcome to another episode of the Biker PM. I'm your host, Anthony Pavelich. Today we have part 2 with Maria Barlow, an attorney from Chicago. So if you haven't already, make sure you go back and listen to the first part. Let's get started. I really want to focus on your business a little bit more and some of your journey and advice for others. But I also want to find out, just because this is, a project management podcast, how do you keep track of everything you're doing? I mean, what systems do you use to keep track of your clients, your business even, because now you have 2 businesses. So how do you keep track of it all?
So they both have software that's designated for that particular business. With the travel agency, we have a couple of different softwares that we use that keep your client management and accepts payments and things of that nature. And then with my law firm, we have and I don't know if you want the name of the software, but with my law firm, we also have a software that we pay for, and it keeps our clients, it keeps their files, so they can pay their bills on the software. It's really a comprehensive software. I really like it a lot. We can send our clients documents to sign electronically, and they'll come right back to us when they sign it. If they need access to certain documents out of their file, they can just sign in and get their individual information for their file. If they want to give us documents or something that is important, they can upload it and it'll go directly into their file. So it's not for us, the software is a dream. It's not a lot of work for us to do because it's already there. We can text them through this software. We can message them like an email almost, but it's a message through the software. We can send their invoices through the software. It's a really good software. I really like it.
If you know the name of it, that would be great.
This one is MyCase, MyCase.
Okay, good.
That we use, and I like it. I like it. And the good thing about them, they take suggestions and sometimes they implement them.
Oh, great. A lot of companies, it's like you make a suggestion, you get feedback, and it goes into this endless abyss of data that you never see anything come from.
No, they actually respond. And it's not the last couple of times we made suggestions, they send you like hey, we got your suggestion response, but oftentimes they actually respond as well, like an actual response.
Oh,
and they may ask you a question or something. But yeah, I was like, they just got bought out recently by another company. So I don't know if it's going to stay the same.
Let's hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so, because it's a really nice software. I definitely stand by it for sure.
Okay. So let's jump back real quick. I want to find out for people that are in your situation that want to become an entrepreneur, that are struggling to find maybe their passion, what suggestion would you have for somebody that is saying, okay, I want to make a difference? What do you think would be your word of advice to them?
If you're not sure, it depends on the age. It depends on your age. If you're younger, and by younger, I mean high school or younger, perhaps you start to do, anybody can do this. You do a shadow day. You go shadow and see like what this person actually does. If you're older, and by older, I mean college, perhaps you start interning in different areas that you think you have interest. I actually changed my practice area partially because I started getting more calls for this practice area. But the other part is because I did a lot of different internships in different places. And so I realized the things that I did like doing and the things that I did not like doing. So, and there's no way you could have told me this in high school, but I realized that it's different. So you want to speak with people in the profession. You want to do those shadow days. And most people, and like I said, if you're in college, sometimes high school too, go do an internship. Go see if you like it. You may realize like, oh, lawyers don't just argue. They have a lot of work. I don't like this. So, or doctors too. Oh, it's a lot of blood. I don't like blood. So you definitely want to research and investigate. As far as just becoming an entrepreneur, again, my bottom line has always been, this is my investment. I decide how much return I get on it. So I never stop working at whatever I'm working on. I just keep going. Even if I fail at something, like I ran a couple years ago for office and I didn't win, but I did very well. But I worked very hard at it. So even though I didn't win, it's still an accomplishment for me. I've never done that before. There are many people that haven't done it. There are many people that won't do it. And there are many people who have done it many times and did not do as well as I did on my first time. So you just got to keep going.
That's important. Just keep going and never giving up in your dream, because I think it's a lot of people are afraid to take that first step towards their dream because they're afraid of failure, or they're afraid
I
of,
was.
yeah. So for internships, I don't know when you started your internships, but was it difficult to get an internship?
Oftentimes, because I didn't know how to get one. But
Okay.
the good thing is, I don't think I knew anybody that ever did an internship before. So the good thing is we did have career services office, at our schools. And then what I have learned is that a lot of people just ask people like, hey, do you know somebody where such and such can intern at? I had an intern recently that was a friend called for another friend, like, hey, the daughter's looking for an internship. And I'm like, oh, sure, we'll meet her. We'll see, what she's about. So I think you have to use your resources. And I think that when you come from a background like mine, where you don't have those family connections, you have to network. You have to make friends in this profession. You have to start to get yourself out there, because there's no, like, I didn't have connections for college or anything like that. But I mean, I had to make it work. I mean, God just blessed me along my path to put people in the place that I needed them to be to help me.
If people want to find out more about you, what's the best way to find out about you and your business?
So my website for my law firm is Attorney, Attorney, Maria, Maria, Barlow, BARLOW.com. So I have information on my website, and they can do a Google search too. I have a lot of information that's available about me on Google search. And then I do presentations too, especially now. A lot of people are having a hard time navigating the court system because it's via Zoom. So I do a lot of presentations, kind of just teaching people how to navigate the court system. And then because of what's going on in the country, a lot of people are deciding to conceal and carry. So I do a lot of presentations on conceal carry too, because a lot of people don't understand that the license to conceal carry has some other things you should know about. Before you pull that trigger, there's some things you should want to know and consider. So I'm always around.
That's good. Those are two actually very good topics to educate on, because that's not having been involved in the court. And it's interesting because I don't know, I'm trying to remember the name of the show that was on TV. God, I wish I could remember it.
What's the premise?
It's The Lawyers. It's the new one that just came out last year. The lead is a person of color, a Black woman.
Oh, is it that All Rise?
All Rise,
with
yes.
The Black judge? Yeah.
Yes, to where they ended the season attempting to do like Zoom cases over Zoom.
Court.
Yeah, okay. So they were doing court over Zoom. That was like it wasn't something I watched religiously, but it was interesting to see that they started filming the show virtually and doing virtual cases over Zoom. So it's a reality now that people are doing it. So it's very interesting that you actually have been presenting on how to navigate that, because it is a new reality, right?
And the sad thing is, a lot of people think that court is closed, and it's not, and it hasn't been in a very long time. So they don't really know how to get the relief they need. So I want to be helpful to them, and I do some estate planning presentations too, because COVID is alive and well, and so a lot of people that haven't previously stopped to think about, what should I do if I leave it? Because I always tell people, like, look, everybody in theory thinks that they're going to pass away when they're old. You don't know when you're going to pass away. So be together
no, you don't.
today. I mean, theoretically, yeah, we all think like, oh, I'm going to be 85, 100. You might be 25. Like you might be 22. Get your stuff together.
It's really weird because I started thinking about it more. I'm in my 40s, but I started thinking about that more as like, I got to make sure my dogs are taken care of. If we both go at the same time, somebody, we've had a friend that we've actually asked, will you take the dogs if something happened to us both at the same time? Because you love the dogs. So, because we have 3 dogs. So we're like, we need to make sure they're taken care of and not thrown into a kennel. I need, the house, there's so many things that legal things to think about. And it's like you said, it's something that I've been thinking about recently. And, it's one of those things people don't like thinking about because it's more, it makes us face our mortality and it makes us face reality at times. And over 200,000 people have died from COVID, and it didn't have to be that way, but it's happened. And if things keep going the way they are, there's going to be more.
Right. And so one of the things I tell people is this, at the end of the day, you can decide that, first of all, we just don't know. So you can't look at it like mortality. You have to look at it like this is part of my life's plan. You didn't work for however long or however hard to buy that house to let it end up coming to me. And by me, I mean the lawyer, or for it to go to the state, or for it to be bought by an investor for your taxes. So that's what makes people stop and plan. I always tell them there are ways that you can make your estate planning a little more economical. And that's one of the things that I teach. But you have to deal with it. It is coming. We don't know the day that it's coming, but it is coming. It is no doubt in my mind. It is coming for you and for me. One day we are not going to be here. Yeah. So, and I'm just of the position that I have a son and I have a dog. So now they got to share my estate, but I'm just of the position that I did not work this hard to let some lawyer come take advantage of my son, who's probably going to be very upset, or anybody else, because he's going to be upset. Like at the loss of a loved one, you're going to be upset. So you probably won't think with your business mind. So as his mother, as the attorney, as the business mind, I'm going to take care of the business now so that when he is upset, he's still good. And so that's the way I see it. I don't see it as a mortality thing. I see it more as listen, here's what I worked for. Here's who I want to enjoy it. Not some schmo who is looking to collect my money. So people, but it's important.
Do you feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, and overworked? There's so much you need to do, but you don't know what the best way to do it is? And you're not sure where all your time goes each week? Jump on over to my website, pavproconsulting.com. You can download my free PDF, The 5 Proven Strategies to Steal Back Lost Time and Money in Your Business. And while you're there, you can book a free process discovery session, pavproconsulting.com. Move forward with confidence, focus, and productivity. With everything that's going on in the States, in the world right now, all the riots, all the discrimination becoming everyday news. You can't turn on the news without seeing something about it. And it can cause a lot of stress. It can cause a lot of anxiety in people. What is your hopes for the next step in making this better? What do you think is an important step that we need to take the country needs to take, the nation needs to take, the world needs to take to make this better?
I think for one, people have to acknowledge it. You can't live in this world of thinking that this just started happening. It's been happening. It's been happening all my life, all my mother's life, all my grandmother's. It's been happening. I think the other important thing is that people have to decide to truly, if you really want to be of help, invest in the communities that need it. These communities need community investment. That's part of why I won't leave. The area around my office was severely damaged and looted. All the banks, everything was closed. But this is the community that I still choose to be in. And people, my colleagues are like, and that's okay, because I'm hopeful that people will decide to invest in this area. We're getting an Amazon here. And I don't know if that's going to help or hurt. I know it'll bring a lot of jobs, but sometimes those things are double-edged swords. But I think a big issue is, too, when we say community investment, we're not talking about build your business in our community and take the money away from here. We're talking about build in this community and invest in this community, give the jobs to people in this community so they can survive. I think it's shameful that people had to decide, I'm not going to go back to work because I make more on unemployment. That's insane to me. We truly need community investment, and we truly need for people to stop deciding that, oh, this is an isolated incident, or this whole premise of, oh, the person should have done X. No, the other person should not have done Y. I mean, it's not, there is no, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
It's, to me, a lot of times it's like trying to shift the blame instead of focusing on a better resolution for the system, a better resolution for that situation, saying, well, it wouldn't have happened if. Yeah. But I really
like the Ahmaud Arbery thing. They said Ahmaud Arbery, oh, he should have listened to them. I'm like, who stops because a random stranger stops you on the street and tells you better stop? How does that, I mean, that doesn't even make logical sense. I would never. Who does that? Who goes, I don't leave out of my house, walk down the street and some random stranger stop right now. And I'd be like, is he crazy? Is she crazy? Why should he have stopped?
Exactly.
I mean, why should he have stopped? What gives you the authority to tell him he had better stop, or you take his life? Like, it's just, I mean, it's madness. It's complete madness. And until we stop, I think until people stop deciding that the Black lives are not valuable, because I can assure you, if Ahmaud Arbery had blonde hair and blue eyes, the whole conversation would be different. If Breonna, like what happened to Breonna, if she had blonde hair and blue eyes, it'd be a different conversation. You see things differently. I don't know if you saw on social media when they took like all of these, it was like the Ahmaud Arbery's, the Breonna, and they changed them and made them fair skinned with blue eyes and blonde hair and got people's reactions to something bad happening to them.
No, I did.
And it was a totally different reaction. Yeah, it was a totally different reaction. And that's something that has to stop. These, you can't put more value on one life versus another. We all just have this one life to live. And when it's done, it's done.
I really like your first point, though, is that we need to admit and we need to accept that this is happening. And we need to, too many people are in denial. Too many people don't believe it. And I really like your point about that. I agree with you. I think that's like the first step, is that everybody needs to understand that this is really happening. It's not something that is, and it's not new.
It's not. And now it's just on tape. That's all. Now it's just on video. And the other thing is, you made a point earlier about the news and how we get it within seconds now. The difference is too, we make our own news.
Yes.
We don't get to define the news anymore. We make our own news. If you don't want to put this on the news, we'll put it on live. But then the news puts it on. But you don't get to decide what the people find to be important anymore. So way back when it was just the newspaper and the TV, you could define the news. But now you can't, because everybody's got a video camera. Everybody can stream what they want.
Everybody can be a reporter. Everybody can bring out what's going on. That's a good point too. That is true.
Share it and share it and share it and share it. So now you can't bury everything.
No, because even if you try to take it down, it's somewhere.
And people never stop sharing it.
Yeah.
Yes, and people are going to make copies and they're going to share it. Like I told you, a colleague wrote something racist in this group. Guess what? I screenshotted that. I screenshotted what you wrote. So now he deleted it later in the day, but I screenshotted it. So now it's not gone. You might have deleted it, but I have it.
And you can't deny it. I mean, people can, there's so many times that this is a political thing. I know people try to deny that. I never said that. I never did that. You did. There's a lot of times politicians acted a certain way. Obama was against gay marriage in the beginning. He changed, just admit it. Just like say, yes, I admit to the faults, admit to, and share what, like for this colleague of yours, if it ever comes up, but at least share how your journey, what you went through to change your opinion, so that other people that may be going through the same thing understand.
and can relate and maybe change their mind. And I think that's it too. And I'm gonna tell you something about that really made me mad. That's a huge group. It's several hundred attorneys in there. And one colleague tried to defend what he said. And believe it or not, that's the colleague he had the biggest argument with, because he wanted, and I'm gonna tell you what happened. He wrote that the clerk's office, our clerk is Black. He wrote that the clerk's office scheduled something on Yom Kippur, and that was just completely inappropriate, and it was the worst thing in the world. And next time, why don't they plan it on Martin Luther King Day? And so I said, what was your purpose other than to be racist? Like, tell me, because Martin Luther King Day is a federal holiday. Yom Kippur is not. So please tell me what your purpose was other than to be racist. So his colleagues like, oh, I know him, he's not racist. So they start arguing. But all day, nobody said anything. And that's another part of the problem. You don't get to let your friend, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, whoever, be a racist, and you don't call them on it. You have to call out racism, whether they like it or not, or you're part of the problem. Silence is a problem. You can't allow your friend to behave this way and then decide, oh, well, I didn't say anything, but I'm not racist. You are just as racist as your friend because you did not hold him accountable. And the interesting thing was the person who was looking to defend him, they're now going back and forth because he's like, no, they should know better. And they should. And so I'm like, who is they? And another colleague's like, who's they? Who's the they you're talking about?
And you'll appreciate this as an attorney, but if you see somebody shoot somebody, you can't say, oh, I'm not responsible because I didn't report it.
Right. Or, oh, I don't want to be involved.
Yeah, you're involved, and you have that responsibility, and
and no one else said anything.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. That's like you said. I mean, you can't let your you can't let your parents, you can't let your family, you have to. It's all education. I have to say I really hate it when my family shares things on social media that are, I want to say, ignorant or aren't factual, and I call them out on it. And a lot of times I'll even post a link to like a website that debunks it. Be like, please check your information before you share stuff stupidly. I had a family member that shared the Toronto Raptors had a bus that said Black Lives Matters on it, a basketball game. And one of my family members shared a meme saying, that was like saying, oh, look, Black Lives Matters is now even renting buses to transport their people to riots and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm from Toronto. I live in Toronto. I know this is a Toronto Raptors bus. So please, before you share this stuff, you need to check the source because you're just spreading hate.
And you know what? Let me say this. This is important. This whole premise of Black Lives Matter, when the masses are talking about Black Lives Matter, we're talking about the actual lives of Black people. We're not talking about the organization. We are talking about the actual lives of Black people. So that doesn't mean that when I say Black Lives Matter, I mean that organization. I don't mean that organization. I mean my life. I mean my son's life, my brothers, my siblings, my parents. Yes. So don't confuse that with a bus that is for the Raptors or for the organization.
Yes. And yeah,
that drives me insane.
It does. Everybody puts everything in a small bucket, and it's not.
Because it's cool. And I'm sure that probably was cool for your family members to be like, oh, look at this. They're really, no one's doing that. And not only that, most people aren't rioting. Most people are protesting. Okay.
Yes.
And I know because I've been out there with them. And when I wasn't out there with them, me and about 25 colleagues that I put together, probably more than that, are taking on their cases pro bono because they deserve it. If you are peacefully protesting, absolutely, we'll come and defend you because you're fighting.
I have to commend you for that. I'm going to commend you for that because that's needed. Because I mean, if they're out there and they're getting arrested, they're getting for peacefully rioting, even.
No, not rioting.
Protesting. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Peacefully protesting. They may not be able to afford somebody to defend them.
Right, and so guess what? For me. Guess what? I know you're fighting for my life too. I know you're fighting for my son's life and my brother and my parents. So I have no problem with taking time out of my day to come get you. No problem. I'm going to be right there for you. Just like you were out there for me, I'm going to come get in that courtroom for you. No problem. Absolutely.
Thank you, Maria. We are out of time, but I really appreciate you being on with me today, and I appreciate everything you said. Like I said, I mean, I think I could keep talking to you, and you've said a lot of things that a lot of people need to hear, and I think it's important in today's world, for entrepreneurs even to understand that you have a voice, you can find a way in your business to give back like you are.
Absolutely. Always. And whether it be big or small, we do what we can in our office. We have a small firm. We do what we can though. You know, if it's going out to help somebody, if it's passing out food, like that's one of the things I do. I pass out, but guess what? You got to, I'm a firm believer that if I don't help the people around me and I'm the only one that's succeeding, eventually somebody's going to come and want to eat too, because the person won't let themselves starve. So I want to help everybody around me so that we can all be good. And I think that if everybody takes that little step and decide I'm going to help those other people around me too, that it'll make things a lot better too.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And you take care and stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Biker PM. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And remember, if you're an entrepreneur that wants to be with like-minded individuals and improving their project management skills, join the Biker PM Facebook group. Until next time.